Well, I finally got to take a look in person at the Motorola DROID. And I have to say, I am sold on the DROID. And I won't say why until close to the end of this video because it's going to be a surprise. First of all, let me tell you what I thought of the device in general. The DROID, the weight was about the same as the Voyager, but it was thinner. It only came up to about, I think, right about here. And I'd say this is a plus because I do want something more pocketable. The keyboard was a little bit flat, but I would say it's usable. And the only reason I would say that is because, excuse me, is because of this. The keyboard on here, if we take a look here, you can see that this also is kind of flat. Doesn't really provide much feedback, does it? The only difference is the one on the DROID is a little bit tighter in terms of space. That was a design issue that they had to take care of. What else do I like about the DROID? So the keyboard, it takes getting used to, but it is usable. I did find myself, sorry to backtrack, by the way, I just had to get this out before I forgot. It is usable. It'll take some practice. Do not try to type with the palm of your thumb here. I would say right around the edges here, and if you have sharp nails, that would be even better. It's kind of like the Pre. The only difference is you have a little bit more space to work with. But in terms of getting it accurate, go ahead and use the very tip of your thumb. And if you have bigger hands, I would stay away from the DROID, only because the keyboard is not. I could see myself having problems if I had bigger hands. So the keyboard was a love it or hate it affair. My story is give it time, give it some practice. I only spent 10 to 20 minutes with the device. So in that short time, how many errors did I make? Maybe 3 or 4. Not too bad. But again, that's only because I'm used to typing on such a flat keyboard from the Sony Vaio UX Micro PC that you just saw. The screen is gigantic. I loved it. That screen was just huge. 3.7 inches, and the resolution was high enough to where I really didn't have any problems with it at all. It's your typical Android device, Android 2.0. Oh, by the way, for anybody who is considering the DROID Aris, a word of caution. I did speak to the Best Buy representatives. I was asking if the DROID Aris would be upgradable to 2.0. The unfortunate answer is no. It's going to be capped at 1.6, and that makes sense. I think there are a number of devices that might not be upgradable to 2.0. The Hero apparently is one of them that will. I don't know how they managed to get around that. It's going to depend on the carrier cap. It's going to depend on the software, and I think it's also going to depend on the hardware. For example, they got T-Mobile, the T-Mobile G1, aka the HTC Dream, to run Android 2.0, but it was incredibly sluggish. So if you want something speedy with Android 2.0, I would just pick up the DROID, or if you have an issue with the keyboard or you're not on Verizon and you don't want to switch, I would wait, because I do think there are going to be more Android devices coming out. More recently, I think the bulk of them though are on 1.6. The Motorola DROID, and which is also known incidentally as the Motorola Milestone for the European and Asian markets, GSM quad band unlocked. I think it's unlocked. That is going to be your version of the Droid. It's going to be called the Milestone, and it's going to be out. It's either, I can't remember, it's either out today or it's coming out probably next week. So yeah, if you're considering the HTC Aris, a very big word of caution. If you do not intend on updating your device, then go with the Aris, or if you have wallet constraints, go with the Aris. But do be forewarned, 1.6 is the cap. You will not be able to update to 2.0, which means that any upgraded apps that are 2.0 specific won't run. I'm encountering the same problem with my iPod Touch, version 3.0 of the operating system. Some apps require that. I do not have it, so it's not even bothering to download, so do be careful about that. If you cannot stomach the Droid, either through the price tag or the keyboard or some other factor that you just don't care for about it, I would wait. I myself personally am getting the Droid, and the reason, well, remember how I talked about a surprise? Android accessibility. I thought that we had a read aloud menu on the Droid. We have more. Really quickly, before I forget, we've got the hands-free project, which is a touchscreen talking interface for the Droid, similar to what they've done on the iPhone. It's not ready yet. It is not a screen reader. It is a collection of applications. I would say it is not ready for general consumer use. There is a long way to go. A lot of people think that it's incomplete, but we do have a solution that is complete. We have more than the read aloud menus that John Rettinger at john4lakers.com and TechnoBuffalo had described, which makes sense because the average consumer, no offense, John, this is not you. This is a lot of people. A lot of sighted people don't even understand what the technology really is, but I do, and let me give it to you now. Our surprise is it's called TalkBack, and it's a screen reader. You heard correctly, a full-blown screen reader built into Android 2.0. You just go into the settings, accessibility, it's the very first option, it's called TalkBack, you hit the checkbox, and boom. Now, one thing I should warn you about is it might require sighted assistance to set up. There is no shortcut that I'm aware of. So, the TalkBack is the main reason I'm going to get the Droid, because I want an open environment and I want one that's accessible should my vision fail completely in the future. There we go. I don't expect my vision to fail, by the way. I'm just playing the just-in-case scenario here. Anyway, my thoughts on TalkBack. Very quickly. Excuse me. The voice. Pardon. The voice. The voice is, somewhere between the vocalizer and the real speak that ships with JAWS. So if you can sort of imagine somewhere between there. Very understandable, very easy to pronounce words. Some words like Verizon get pronounced as Verizon, but, that's typical. Anyway, I have to get through this, so we're going to kind of go fast. Landscape mode only. Keyboard navigation only. So in other words, you have to have the phone in landscape and you have to open it up in order to use the screen reader. The speech cut off sometimes, especially when I locked the phone. I had issues getting the speech back up, but I only had 20 minutes with the device. What else? The Horsford website loaded fine. The Verizon website did not, but I've heard that that's an issue with all screen readers, so it's not just TalkBack. Keyboard screen reader, keyboard shortcuts in web browser, like Alt+B for bookmarks. Elements such as checkboxes and so forth were identified properly. The keyboard, again, flat but usable. It'll take some getting used to. The camera is not usable, unfortunately. The directional pad is huge. That's one of the things I love about the Droid. For those of you who are wondering about the D-pad or arrow keys, the D-pad is huge. It's very easy to identify. The TalkBack is only Android 2.0 devices, which for now means the Droid. Overall, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Very good first attempt by the open source community and Google to develop a screen reader for the Droid and future Android 2.0 devices, because this is stock Droid, okay? This is no customization. And again, only 20 minutes with the device, but I'm very impressed, and I think this is a major step forward. And I love it, and that's exactly why I'm getting the Droid. Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome. Insults against me will get you blocked, and have a nice day.